Okay, we're going to take a look at question number 16 on the final exam study guide. And it says the Wall Street Journal reported that a recently conducted travel found that 28% of baby boomers, those born between 1946 and 1964, took a cruise vacation within the last 3 years. A random sample of 75 baby boomers was selected. What is the probability that 23 or fewer of these individuals took a cruise within the last 3 years? There's a few key words here. First of all, we're talking about probability. So we are going to look at the probability formulas, and this is a sample. So if you were on your exam, what you would do is you will have a formula sheet, and let me show you where this formula sheet is. If you click on modules, just so you can practice using it, and go down to proctored exams, there is a formula sheet. If you will click on it, you're able to view it, and this is all the information that you will need. So I'm going to scroll down, and what we're doing here is we are finding, here it is, the standard error of the proportion, because this is a sample, and then we have to find the z-score for the proportion, and then we're going to look on our table, which I will show you in just a second. So let's start working this, and let's talk about the information that we have. It said we had a sample, so N is 75, and the probability was, I believe it was 0.28. So we know what N is and we know what P is, and this is all we need to work this problem. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with, let me move this over, we're going to start with the standard error of the proportion, and the formula is on the formula sheet, and you will have this for your exam. So it's P times 1 minus P over N, and we know what P is and we know what N is, so we can go ahead and figure out what the standard error is. So we have 0.28 times 1 minus 0.28, and then N is 75. So what we're going to do is put that in our calculator, and you should get 0.0518. So that is step one, to find the standard error of the proportion. Now we need to use the formula right after that, the z-score, to figure out the z-score for the sample proportion. And that would be, first we need to find out what the sample proportion is that we're trying to find, and we want to know how many for 23 out of 75, and 23 was given in your problem. So if you do 23 out of 75, our sample proportion would be 0.3067. I just rounded it to the fourth decimal place, and you can do that on your test. So 0.3067. Now we can use that to find our z-score for the sample proportion, which is this formula here. And now we know everything to plug in, because we know that our sample proportion is 0.3067, and we know that P is 0.28, and then the standard error of the proportion, which we just calculated above, is 0.0518. So if you calculate that, you will get 0.6985. So step one, and this is step 2, and then this would be step 3. And now this number is the number we need to look up on our table. So let's go look up 0.6985. Hold on. I'm sorry. That is not what I got. That's the final answer. What you will get is 0.5154, but when you look on the table, it's going to be rounded to the nearest hundredths. So we need to go look up 0.52. So let me go back to our table. So if you scroll down on your formula sheet to the table, and we're looking at positive, so this is the cumulative probability for negatives. If we scroll on down and we look at 0.52, you will see that it's 0.6985. If you go to 0.5 and go across, and you go to 0.2 and go down, you will see the answer is 0.6985. So my final answer is, the probability is 0.6985. That is the answer to this problem. Let me know if you have any questions.